Along with the TCT course, we've been exploring Canvas. Canvas will be our learning management system when we go to the Chromebooks. This course has been a lot of learn at your own pace as you go, find things out as you troubleshoot. I decided to attend a webinar that was hosted by Simple K-12, which showed me a lot of things that I made my time very successful. One of the really cool things that we learned on the webinar was that if you go to dashboard, it gives you kind of an outlook of all the things that are upcoming, which is nice to know that students can see that they have a discussion they need to do, that they can view their calendar, that tells them what's going on in the next week. When you click on courses, it shows all the courses that you're currently in. I'm going to show you through my TCT art test course that I created for this course, which is kind of a showcase of one of the units that I've created. Along with assignments, discussions, grades, being able to find different people within your course through groups or enrollments. You can also view pages, files, syllabus, which you can stick in. I wrote mine in, and then I learned later that you can attach a file, and I felt pretty silly. You can go to outcomes, which links it to standards. You can have quizzes, and the most exciting thing that I found was this thing called modules. Modules is a way that you can encase your assignments kind of like in file folders, allowing you to embed everything into one area. So one of my units that I have is called color and painting. I am able to link in the different assignments, and I'm able to tell it within settings, this little spin wheel here, which this little spin wheel, anywhere you're at in Canvas means settings. It allows you to do more with that area. So I can tell it to edit this module, and it will pop up. Come on. When I'm inside here, I can edit, I can lock it until a certain date. So if I click on lock, I can tell it unlock on a certain day, which means students won't have access to it until it is unlocked. I can click on the little dot here that says students must complete all of these requirements. Then I can state how I want it to be completed. So this check mark here says students must move through the requirements in a sequential order, which I am then allowed to move these things around so that it goes in the order that I want them to go through. So students will have to complete my color and painting by viewing the item. Once they've opened and viewed the item, then it will mark it as complete, and then they can open up what the color notes assignment was. They'll then have to submit an assignment at the end in a box. Once that is submitted, they will be able to access this pink Really a Color discussion board, and then so on and so forth. I thought it was pretty awesome. That way students can move at their own pace but not be able to jump all the way to the end and complete the very last assignment and say that they are done. It'll allow students to pace themselves throughout the class, but at the same time complete the required assignments. So you can choose by clicking on these here, you can mark it as done or contribute to the page or however you want them to be marked to be able to move on to the next assignment. I found that to be really awesome. Along with the assignments, I found it pretty cool that you can link things up. So I made a movie for mine, which is called Color and Painting. It's a PowerPoint presentation
Today
that
we're
I
taking
made
notes on color theory
where I
as we
talk through the
review what we
presentation.
studied yesterday. Color is the element that is produced when light striking an object is reflected,
which allows students to be able to hear it as if I was presenting it in class, but on their own terms. I found this to be a very exciting feature of Canvas. My students, I'm hoping, will take off and flourish at their own pace and complete assignments as we complete certain units on their own. I'm going to create different demo videos like this one where students will see and watch how I complete tasks such as drawing demos, ceramic demos, and other sorts of areas for my assignments. And I think that's going to be very exciting and very powerful for us as teachers to be able to move forward using Canvas. The other really cool thing I found inside Canvas is quizzes. You can create and generate quizzes within Canvas with multiple choice questions or fill in the blanks. Multiple choice questions will actually grade themselves, and students will be able to see their grade almost instantaneously after they've taken the quiz. So if I click on my Future versus Cubism, it's a 3-question quiz that students are able to take after they've visited the Futurism PowerPoint presentation. If I click on Preview once I've created my quiz, it'll allow me to see it as if I'm a student. So I can see that I have 3 questions, and they're true and false. So cubism mainly uses monochromatic colors. That is true. And I go on to my next question. Then it will ask me another question. Futurism includes the 4th dimension. And I would write in my answer. True. Click next. And then it will take me to question 3. True or false, artists who participated in futurism created movement. That is also true. And then I submit my quiz. By submitting the quiz, it tells me, thank you for submitting your quiz. This was a preview draft of the version of the quiz. It'll tell me down here the points, and I can make it shuffle my answers as it goes. That way students can't look over each other's necks and be able to see what each other is putting in. So it tells me how I did. Correct, you got it right. Ah, you missed it. Or correct, you got it right, which is pretty exciting. So students can have instantaneous. And there's also this thing called Speed Grader, which I can't activate. I don't have any students in my course at this time, but it will allow us to take grades, import them in from Canvas, and send them straight on over to PowerSchool, which is going to be extremely amazing for us. Another awesome feature that I found the Chromebooks will allow us to be able to do is when it comes to writing assignments, we can have students check their writing themselves. So towards the end of this unit, I have a writing assignment created where students have to read an article about futurism and cubism. So it's my futurism cubism writing assignment. And it says right in my writing assignment what students need to do. They need to read page 4 and 5 from the Scholastic magazine and discover why Marcel Duchamp was considered scandalous in 1913. They need to remember the answering the prompt using complete sentences, provide 2 pieces of evidence to support their reasoning, and that a good response answers the prompt at the beginning, introducing each piece of evidence and explaining each piece of evidence and concluding their thoughts at the end to notify the reader that they are finished. I even put in my assignment before you submit your response, first copy and paste into the following website. So Paper Rater will allow students to copy and paste their writing into it and allow them to grade their own assignment. So I will show you this in just a moment. So I go to Paper Rater and I tell it to use now. I'm going to go to my Google Drive, or I'll just go to my Google Docs. And I'm going to copy paste something over here for you so you can see how it checks. Show me something. What's this? Here's one of the assignments that we had to write up for one of our last assignments in TCT. So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to select the text. I'm going to Control A. Or not. Yes. Control C to copy it. I'm going to go back over to my proofreader. I'm going to paste my writing in. The one thing that's kind of different about this is I do have to state on here my grade as 9th grade or it will not assess my writing, which is fine because students, we want them to hit a higher level of writing anyways. And I'm just going to tell that my writing type is other and click that I read and then tell it to give me a report. When it's doing this, it's thinking and analyzing my writing. So let's let it think for a second. And then it comes through and it shows things that I can adjust, like breakdown. I didn't see my typo there. I need to put it together. And it will tell me for my spelling what my error was and that it's in red. And it'll show me what I need to fix about it, giving me suggestions. It'll tell me in my grammar things that are in green that I need to correct. So I didn't have a comma after however, which I should. Shame on me. Then it will go on and tell me in blue, word choice suggestions. It didn't have any for me. It'll tell me where I'm at. Good job, your score is above average. You know exactly which phrases to avoid in your writing. And then tells you about your transition phrases, where you are. Which I think this is awesome because it will give students immediate feedback about their writing before they ever submit it and allow them to fix it so that they can have even better writing as they grow. And it gives them a grade so they can get an idea of, oh, if I submit it right now as it is, I could get a B. But if I made those changes, my grade could go up higher. So that's something to take in fact that students can use to be able to fix their writings. And I thought that was pretty awesome. And I plan to implement that in my classroom so students can have better and quicker feedback with their writing. So these are a few things that I learned from TCT. You're able to put a rubric right in with your assignments. So I just copied and pasted directly from the writing rubrics that we use for art. That my criteria is the description. They have their content, their organization, their use of vocabulary, and their conventions. And that way they know they can score a 1 through a 3 in those areas to get their score, and that's how they get their grade. So these are the few things I took away from the TCT course. I hope that you've enjoyed my little bit of chatting about it, even though it might be boring.